Okay, back with another Portable Clint. Guys, I don't know much about my next guest, but I do know that I like her. I've always seen her around, I've always dug her, and I like our mutual interests. Ladies and gentlemen, Susie Geiser.
Hi.
Look at you, look at you.
Look at me.
Look at you. How are you?
I am doing great.
Susie,
it's the holidays.
It is the holidays. I love the holidays. I love being at farmer's market during the holidays. All right, Susie, I'm about to focus on you.
Oh my gosh.
Are you ready for your...
Sure.
All right, let's get portable.
Okay.
Susie Geiser,
Yes.
when did you think about Hollywood? Not about moving, but when did you start taking notice going, man, I want that?
I will tell you exactly when.
Please.
I am from Orange County originally, but
Orange County, California?
California.
Is there an Orange
California.
County, Florida?
There is. There is also that.
I feel like Florida steals a lot of ours.
I know, they're
Right?
totally copycats.
Okay.
But anyway, so that's where I'm from originally, and nobody in my family was in entertainment in any way. And I didn't think about it, but I remember in 6th grade, I think 5th grade, I was sitting with a friend at lunchtime, and I was making her laugh. And she said, "You should be a comedian." And I said, "But I'm a girl." Because that's how progressive we are back there in Orange County. But honestly, at that time, the only female comedians I knew were like Phyllis Diller. And I didn't really relate to that. It didn't feel like me. But then very shortly after, I discovered there was a show on TV called Saturday Night Live, which, typically I didn't see.
What night did that come on?
I think it was Saturday.
Okay, go ahead.
Pretty sure. But anyway, so the first time I saw it, I managed to stay up late enough to watch it. And I was like, oh, I want to do that.
Okay, and we're talking about the original cast.
Yes,
Okay,
correct.
good. All
Correct.
right.
This was a few years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I did the same thing.
The
I thought-
original cast.
Yes.
And so I was like, oh, wait a minute. These are women who are cute and they're talented and it's more like acting. They're acting. They're not doing stand-up comedy, and I think that looks like a lot of fun. And I also like the whole ensemble type of nature of it and that type of thing too. So that's when, that's when I was younger, and then I get into high school. And because we did not have the internets back then,
We did not.
yeah, and back then, sketch comedy, SNL was a big popular show. However, it wasn't as mainstream. I mean, now every high school has an improv team. You know what I mean?
True.
So it was not like that back then. So I needed to do my own research. So what I did was, when I was supposed to be doing a research paper, term paper, I went to the library, and I learned that you could go up to the desk in the periodicals, and you'd get it, and then you could just look up people. So I was like, oh, Gilda Radner. Okay, well, there was this article in People magazine of this date, and I would just ask for them, and I would sit there like a nerd, and I would read through all these things.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Because, once again, nobody in my life was in this business. Oh, actually, I take that back. There was one girl, her name is Allison Fonte, and Allison was on the new Mickey Mouse Club.
The new
in
one.
the 70s.
Okay.
And then there was a new one with Ryan Gosling and all those people, and Britney Spears. But so I thought that looked fun. But that was more singing and stuff. And anyway, so I did that, and then I realized, oh, everyone's from Second City. Now that's in Chicago. My mom is originally from Chicago, so I have relatives there, but I'm in California.
Right.
And I thought, well, that would be cool to go to Second City, because now I'm discovering all of these actors who I really love, who are from there. And then
Susan, we did the same research, but with different people. Mine was John Belushi, yours was Gilder. Wait, Second City? What is this about?
And so I became really obsessed with reading about that. And then, meanwhile, there was a show called SCTV that Catherine O'Hara was like my idol.
Is she still your idol today?
Our kids went to the same high school.
Oh, okay.
And so I only approached her once, and I went up to her, and she's very, like, a lovely woman, very sort of shy, and I just said, I just have to tell you that you inspired me to be an actor. And she was like, oh yes, but of course we're just moms, and I could tell she didn't want to talk about it, so I never bothered her again.
That was one of those things that happens to a lot of actors. They know somebody's coming up, so they quickly turn the subject to shut it down, and not because it's you.
No,
they're embarrassed to talk about it.
She's very modest about all that kind of stuff. But then I told her, because I have a friend cutting further down the road. I was at the Groundlings, and I did the classes, and I was in the Sunday company there. And Mike Hitchcock,
Sure.
is a friend of mine. So I was like, I know Mike Hitchcock because he's in all the movies with me. So I said, oh, good. So I didn't seem like a total stalker.
Right.
But I don't come up to people typically, but she was special. She's a person I wanted to say that to. So anyway, so it's SCTV, and then I realized that Lorraine Newman, she came from the Groundlings. So I'm like, well, the Groundlings is in LA. I can make that work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when I went to college in Fullerton, I started at Fullerton College doing theater, and then I kind of stayed there and did more theater, and then I got my bachelor's degree in English at Cal State Fullerton.
Okay.
And so meanwhile, while I was at college, I started driving into LA and taking class at Groundlings.
Look at you. And you were in college, so what, 18, 19?
Right, like by the time I started taking classes, about 20.
Okay, so you're 20 years old, you're taking classes. Do you have headshots at the time? Are you just now focusing on the craft of improv, or are you focusing on the career yet?
I wanted to focus on the career, but first of all, I was very green.
Sure.
I was really good at improv though.
You were?
Yes. I mean, I was like, I knew I was there. In terms of, I also was in an acting class, and everybody in the acting class, a lot of people were from Orange County and were moving out to LA. There was a photographer named Buddy Rosenberg. Everyone was getting their headshots with him.
He was the dude at one time?
Well, for this group of people. And yes, he didn't.
Buddy.
He took my picture, and it was basically like he just held a camera in front of me and went, okay, thank you, $150. It was terrible pictures, and they didn't get me any work or an agent or anything. But I focused on the Groundlings. That was my main thing. And I went, people when they take classes there, I think it's a little bit different now. I mean, but you'll take basic class, and then they'll decide if you move up to the next level. And I moved up to the next level. I mean, once again, improv, for some reason, I just always was good at.
I hate it, but go ahead.
A lot of people do, but we're improvising now.
I know, but I would rather, I love sketch comedy, but I hate improv.
Yeah.
I just don't want to have to worry about coming up with something.
But you don't have to worry. See, that's the thing. I'm telling you, it took me 10 years to not want to, soil myself when I'm on stage.
Yeah.
Worry. It takes a long time and a lot of hours doing it. And if you're a good actor, so, it's listening and responding. And I was so grateful that, here I am coming up from Orange County. I've never done anything before. And I was nervous because this is the Groundlings, for my first class. And I thought, I got to calm myself down. So I said to myself, don't try to be funny. Just listen and follow directions.
That's a good piece of advice still today.
Well, thank God in my little brain I came up with that at the time.
Yeah.
And I remember showing up at the very first class, and everyone there was older than me. Everyone looked like they knew more than me in general in life, and they were all trying to be funny. It was so embarrassing, and I was like, I'm so glad I didn't do that, because I was like going, ooh, that's bad. And it is about just listening and following directions, and
Okay. Was there anybody in your class that went on and became who we got?
So when I went there through the Sunday Company, and I was in the Sunday Company for a year.
Sunday Company is the place where you always want to get to, right?
Well, you get there first, and then they choose some people from the Sunday Company to be in the main company.
Oh, the
and
main
then
company.
You're in
Okay,
it.
I got you. Okay.
So it's like the B team type of thing. Lisa Kudrow was in the show with me. Mike Hitchcock, Tim Bagley. Do you know Tim?
Yes.
He's on Will and Grace and a million other things. Later on, after I left the Groundlings, I moved on to Acme Comedy Theater, which I don't even know if they're in North Hollywood.
Oh, they moved?
Well, they started in North Hollywood, and I was there at the very beginning.
Okay.
Of that, not the very, very beginning. Adam Carolla was in the company when I was there, and he was like, cool, there are more people, bye. But I knew Adam also at the Groundlings. But anyway, so from there, a lot of people have come out too. And some of us were like people who were like, okay, well, I still want to do improv and sketch, so I'll go over here. Alex Borstein, who's won the Emmy a couple times for Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yes.
Jerry Lambert, who's
yes,
a buddy of yours
very
too.
funny.
I know you know him. Chip Chinnery.
Chip, awesome.
Who else? Lisa Cushell, who's now Lisa Arch. She was on Mad TV. Brett Baer and Dave Finkel, who are big writer-producers. They for the New Girl.
Okay.
And and I'm forgetting other people, but lots of people.
Okay. Bottom line groundlings for me, like sum up the groundlings for me in one sentence, and sum up Acme. Like, tell me the difference.
Well, the difference between the two is Groundlings was at the time and kind of continued to be way more established. People were being plucked out from there to go to SNL.
Okay.
And we had people like, who got good work from Acme too.
Yeah.
But just was a bigger thing. And then also with Acme, we kind of got away from the improv and just did sketch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Buddy screws you on headshots.
Oh my God. Well, I didn't pay for them. My dad did,
Okay.
because I got him to pay for everything.
Daughters have they have a good way of doing that with their dad, having their dad.
Listen, my parents never, ever, they didn't encourage me to do anything because they were very old school and they were actually older parents.
Okay.
I have 4 brothers and they looked at me and I could have said, I want to be, a racehorse. And they would have said, well, good for you.
Okay.
You just try
I dig it. I dig that.
I mean, because I think I got married pretty young, and I just remember looking at their faces, and I could see them going like, "Phew, off our hands," So
right.
it's like I could have said anything. So if I wanted to take a class or whatever, they would pay for it.
Okay, so Susie, when do you go, all right, I want to take this to the next level. I want to take headshots. I want to get an agent. What tell me about that.
Well, I kind of started doing that around the time, I was at Groundlings, because I was seeing all these people around me working and, that's what I wanted to do. It took me a long time, though, to get a good agent.
Okay.
All right, so, I was signed, my very first agent was Mary Grady, who was a children's agent. And she was like, her daughter was on 8 is Enough, and her son was on My 3 Sons.
Okay.
Okay? And so I don't know if she really took me seriously on any level, but I had some auditions with that, and I drive up from Orange County, They were not often things I was really right for. And then I got another small agency that, like I remember once, oh my gosh, they sent me out for a thing where, now granted at this point I'm like 22, 23, and I looked young, but I didn't look that young. Said it's to play someone who's 16, 17. I'm like, okay, I could probably pull that off. So I drive all the way down to LA in the pouring rain. It takes me like 2 hours to get there. It's just 3 hours maybe. Nightmare. I show up. We're not just playing kids. We're on a school bus. Okay, we're like the other kids were like 13, 14-year-olds.
Okay.
And I felt like such an idiot. I'm like, this is not going to work. I know head of the class, they were all 30, but...
Yeah, but don't you like how we as the actors start doing their job and saying, this is not going to work.
Right.
This is not going to work.
Well, I do, and I'm usually right.
Okay, but was that ever brought back up that you were too old for that?
I called the agent and I said, I don't think I was right for that. The casting director was like, what the hell? Are you here for this?
Oh, so okay, all right, okay.
No, it was clearly a huge mistake. And probably my horrible headshots led to that.
Susie, at that time in your life, what did you want out of this business? What did you want to accomplish then?
I think I wanted the same thing I want now, strangely.
That's great.
I realized early on, like, SNL is the obvious thing that everybody wants when they start doing sketch comedy and improv. I realized early on because I saw people getting it, getting auditions for it. And I thought, and by the way, I was also already married. So it's like, I got married fairly young. So it's like... And
you've only been married once, if I can say that.
One time.
This is very impressive in this town.
I guess so.
It is.
But,
Especially being an actress. I don't know. That's great. I'm impressed.
Well, it's hard because lots of, men are coming on to me constantly and I have to push them away. But no, it's a decision. You're married.
I am married.
It's like we're a partnership. We're a family, and
it's best.
A decision.
It's great to have a partner. Well, I'm a great woman, and it's great to have a good partnership in this and going through this business.
And does your wife work in the
No,
industry?
no.
See, my husband does.
Really?
I actually
That's
met him
right.
at the
He's
Groundlings.
what was
No,
it?
he's a production manager, producer for sitcoms. And
Okay.
I met him at the Groundlings. Now, he wasn't an actor. He like worked in the box office and in the school and like ran lights at one point. He had already kind of left by the time I got there, but he gets the business, because I think it's a lot of couples who don't get the business.
Yeah.
If you have some years where you're not a lot is happening, they're like, so are you gonna end this pipe dream now? Can you get a job, please? And so he gets that, which has been helpful.
I've been at this business for 32 years. My wife has never once looked at me differently, like, Clint, don't you think it's time?
Right.
Never hinted, nothing. It would kill me if I saw that in her eyes.
Well, also, though, I mean, you do work a decent amount.
Thank God.
You know what I'm saying? And then not only that, but she understands because she's in tune to you.
Well, but there's also those slow times where you're like, man, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, even I'm
Like
questioning
now?
myself. Even I'm questioning myself. But the fact that she hasn't questioned
I'm
me.
going to take off my glasses.
You do whatever you got to do. Look at you.
I'm actually quite nearsighted, so it's harder for me to see you. And now I look more like Molly Shannon.
Do you get that a lot?
I get it all the time.
Really? Tell me how you get that.
Well, one of the first times was, and also, I know a ton of people who know her. I've met her like once or twice, but anyway, I had just had my first son, and I went out to lunch with a friend of mine, and I've got the baby there, and I was wearing sweats, I didn't have any makeup on, my hair was tweaked, and a woman said, "You're an actress, aren't you?" And I thought to myself, she's like thinking I'm Molly Shannon, but I am an actress. So I said, "Yes, I am." She goes, "Oh, I think you're so great." And I was just thinking, oh my God, poor Molly Shannon, because she's thinking, Molly Shannon looks like crap. Oh, that poor thing, what has happened to her? What has she been through? But I do get that. And then I've also, I like to say I'm the poor man's Molly Shannon, because I have gotten work.
Because looking for Molly Shannon type.
Yeah, I booked a commercial once, and the director said, at the fitting, he was like, "You know, you remind me of," and I just went,
Look at you,
and
man.
he laughed, because it's true.
Yeah.
And this was a job Molly Shannon wouldn't have taken that job. She was already.
But Susie, what I like about you is that you embrace it, you accept it. You're not like, oh, I hate it when they do that.
Because who doesn't like Molly Shannon?
That's
I mean,
very
she's
true.
awesome. If
She
you're going
is
to
awesome.
remind
Yep,
somebody of somebody.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Your first gig that you booked, what was it? Your first SAG job.
My very first SAG job was a commercial for, it was very weird. This was back when I had just like a little agent, but they didn't even get it from me. A friend recommended me to a casting director.
Okay. Who was the casting director?
I don't even remember the name. This is a person who barely was casting and is not casting anymore. But it was for, you remember the movie Roadhouse? With,
Yeah.
Well, it was for the video release.
I can't believe you asked me that question. Do I
Of
remember?
course you would.
Okay,
Hello.
go ahead.
But it was for the video release. And I feel like I'm looking in the wrong spot.
You know what? There's really no place to look. It's the person sitting there just
That's
hanging
true.
out with
I know,
us.
but I like to say, hey. But anyway, the movie Roadhouse was on video, and I was a person. I was like, hey, do you have that movie with Patrick Swayze? And you know who was in that? Was Kip King. Do you know who Kip King was?
Who is Kip King?
Character actor, did a million things. His son is Chris Kattan.
Oh, okay.
Happens to be.
Wow.
But he was in it, and he was like a big commercial guy.
I did not know that.
Yes.
I didn't know that he came from an actor.
Yes, he did. He sprung from his
Wow.
mother's loins. I don't know
yeah.
what she did. But anyway, so that was it. And on the set, I'm like, I'm not in the union. They go, well, you are now.
Okay.
So there you go. That's how I got
What
the
year
union
did you
card.
join?
1990, I think.
And so 1990.
When did Roadhouse come out?
So 1990, I'm going to say your dues were around 1850. $1,850.
That sounds about right. My
Someone-
dad paid for them.
Look at
Once again,
you.
my daddy. So I don't recall. It helps though when you're young enough where
Yeah.
you can like say dad.
Yeah,
Please pay
trust
for
me,
this.
I know.
Or I think, anyway, but I think he paid for them. I don't remember. But and then my first TV job was Chip Chinnery, our mutual friend, called me up. I was 8 months pregnant at least, and he called me up and he said, Men Behaving Badly, the TV show, is casting pregnant women. And so I like rolled off the couch and I got my headshot and my resume because Debbie Romano was casting it. And I'd been in for Mad TV, so she had met me before. And I just got in my little car and I drove down to the casting office, and they had a bin outside, and I put a little note, hey, remember me? Did you know I'm pregnant? And I dropped it in, and I auditioned and I booked it.
See, but the fact that you drove down there, put it in the bin, that says something. Do you still have that drive in you now?
Well, I do in general. If someone says something, look, what is it going to hurt? I mean, I'll go there and I'll drop it in my headshot and say hi, and what's she going to do?
Well, no, but there's still a lot of people who go, no, I better not do that. That looks desperate. No, I better not do that.
No, it doesn't look desperate.
No, I love that you did it.
Because we are helping them.
Yes,
you know what I mean? I was a choice.
Yes.
And in fact, I will never forget this because it was like my first job that I booked on a TV show on network television. And I was playing a pregnant woman who was supposed to be in labor. And so, and then Rob Schneider helped me deliver my baby, who's a doula.
Okay.
And so I go in there. I'd read for another part, and then another pregnant woman, which is kind of a boring part. I got the good one. And they said, hey, will you go outside and look at this and come back? So I said, okay.
I always love when that happens.
Oh, it's awesome, because also now they're like, well, you know, they're not going to expect you to be like perfect and all
Exactly.
And
Yes.
So whatever.
Yes.
So I go outside. I walk in, and they're like, and I look, and there's nowhere to sit. And I said, I'm just going to grab a chair. And I was the last woman to go in this role, and I thought, they're playing someone in labor and they're not sitting down.
Seriously,
I'm like,
what is
hi,
up with
what are you
that?
going to do?
Yeah.
And so Debbie was like, that was smart. Nobody did that. And I'm like, well, I was in labor. What am I going to do? You know?
Yeah, well,
And
I dig
they had to
that.
do the camera probably like this, but it was not. And also, that was back in the day when you'd go in and there was a room full of people, which, that was so wonderful.
It was wonderful.
It was all the writers and producers.
I love a
everybody
good
was
room.
there.
I love a good room.
And you're doing comedy, and you hear laughs back.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
and nowadays you just read on tape.
You hear
a lot of
nothing,
stuff,
know nothing.
and then that's it. You know.
Let's go back to Chip Chinnery calling you up, going,
Yeah.
hey, they're casting.
Yeah.
I've always said the character actors are the most supportive actors of the other actors.
I agree. For the most part, I mean, you know, there's a few jerks.
There are a few jerks, but the fact that Chip Chinnery is a great example of us.
Yeah.
Somebody who looks out for other people.
I try to do that for people.
I know
too.
you do. I know you do.
Because, you know, first of all, if someone else, I like it when people I know are working.
Yeah.
I like that because, first of all, it means selfishly, well, if they could do it, I could do it.
Amen.
You know,
Yeah.
and when my friends are happy, and, you know, that's a good thing. I like to
Yes.
surround myself with people.
Yes.
You know, I do know people who still to this day, hey, are you going out? What's going on? Hey, it's been slow. Has it been slow for you? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't pay attention to that so much. I feel like when it's time for me.
Yeah.
Now, I'm also not the sole supporter of my family. In which case, if I was, I would also have another job. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
But we are doing this because we like it. It's not like we spent, you know, we put ourselves through med school.
Right.
And have, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars of loans, and now, well, I just better pay off.
Yeah,
you know,
you're right about that.
But I do it because I love to do it, and I want other people to have that too.
When did things start clicking for you in this business? Like, hey, you know, I'm booking jobs. When do you feel like you got into a good rhythm?
I'll tell you when. And I gotta say, everything good in my career and in my life, I could trace back to the Groundlings. Okay?
I can too, but I would say Second City for me here in LA.
Okay, so because I think it's really important when you move somewhere new or you start in something, you find your hub, and it could be the Groundlings, or it could be another theater company, or it could be a class or whatever.
Yes.
And so I met at the Groundlings Alicia Brandt. I don't know if you know her.
I feel like I know that.
Alicia was a great mentor for me as an actor. She's a little bit older than me. And she had come from New York, where she was like the commercial queen. Back in the days when you could do a commercial and it would play on 3 networks 24/7.
I love that.
And you know, you
Good
made a
old
lot of
days.
money and all that.
Yeah.
Back in the good old days.
Yeah.
So we became friends because I met her at Groundlings in a class, and we've just been friends since. And this was many, many years ago. And so Alicia's husband, Doug Ely, is from AKA.
Yes, I know, I knew her. Yes, yes, I love her. Yes.
So Doug was
Wait,
in
tell me the
Abrams
name
first.
that you said the original. What's her name?
Alicia Brand.
Yes.
Yeah, you know her.
I know her.
No, Alicia's awesome.
I don't know why. I guess the way it's spelled, I don't know why it didn't
Oh,
click
how
in my
funny,
head.
yeah.
Yes, I love her. Yes,
So-
I've worked with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's worked with her.
Yeah, she's awesome.
So Alicia had been with Doug forever at Abrams Artists, and then Doug and Mike Abrams and Pam Porter, forgetting my agent's name, who I've had for a million years, they started AKA Talent Agency.
Sure.
And so I had actually interviewed, because of course Alicia's like, I'll get you an interview with Abrams, and they had rejected me twice, but then they were starting AKA. And I had an agent, but it was kind of meh. And she said, you should talk to Doug, because they're starting this new agency. And I said, okay. And I did. And I said, will you be my agent, Doug? And he said, yes. So I was one of the first to sign at AKA.
Awesome.
And that's when I started working, because they're such a powerhouse commercial
Yeah,
agency.
if I wasn't with my agent for the last 32 years,
Yeah.
I would love to be with AKA.
No, they're fantastic.
Yeah,
And
I always hear great
referred
things.
them to a few
Yeah.
people who've gone in and signed and been very, very happy.
Yeah.
And so that's when I started working commercially. Now, it's funny because I started working, like really working, after I had my son. And I think part of it was, like, when I was in my 20s, I was sort of what do you do with, first of all, I'm very immature to this day, but I was especially
That's the reason
immature
why I
back
love
then.
you, because,
I'm very,
Yeah.
But I wasn't ready to work, even though I was at the Groundlings. Okay, here's a fun story. So I'm at the Groundlings. I'm like 23, 24, whatever. I'm in the Sunday Company, and I've got my headshot up on the wall. It's a freaking cute headshot, okay? I had the Miss Clairol hair, and I'm like, hey, I'm cute. And so I get a call from someone saying they're producing a sitcom, and they would like for me to audition for it. I'd never auditioned for a sitcom in my life, okay? And I immediately panicked inside.
Sure.
Because I don't know. And I hadn't even really taken, other than college, like acting classes, any real acting classes. I just could do that. And he thought my picture was cute, and he wanted me to audition for it. So I was like, I can't. He goes, what? And I said, I have a doctor's appointment. This is me.
Going back to the word green.
Going back to the word green and pathetically scared.
Yeah.
And so he goes, well, can you come in tomorrow? And I said, oh shit, I guess I gotta go in on this thing. So, okay, so get this. So I show up for what is the callback for a network sitcom at, I want to say it was at Sony, and it was Valerie Bertinelli had a pilot. So I go in.
Which one was this? What pilot was it?
I don't remember the name of it.
Okay.
But I think she was a detective.
Okay.
I don't even know if it went to series. I don't remember. But I'm there, and I'm seeing women who I see on television there. This is the second lead of this pilot, okay? I barely, know, what I'm doing. And so I'd never been, not only had I never auditioned for a sitcom before, I had never auditioned for producers before. So I walk in thinking there's just going to be this dude sitting there, I'm going to read with him. It was an entire table of writer-producers, and I'm reading with Valerie Bertinelli.
Oh.
I'm like, oh my God. There was a reason that I probably should have said I had another doctor's appointment that day. I forget your original question.
The original question is the rhythm. When did you get into the rhythm? And you answered it beautifully by saying when you joined the Groundlings.
Yes.
We all need a hub here.
Yes.
And the hub helps us get going.
Correct.
Because as we see the people around us, if our friends are working, that makes us work.
Yes.
It's who we hang out with in Hollywood. If you hang out with non-bookers, you'd probably be a non-booker.
Probably. And some of my most close friends I know through this business, because if you're open to it.
Yes.
The people who sit in an audition by themselves and they're very serious and da-da-da. I wouldn't want to be that person.
No.
They're not enjoying themselves.
No, they're not. Hang on, I gotta wait till this thing goes by, because it's the loudest on the camera.
Yes.
Here we go. Hang on. Here she goes. Okay, Susie, we're at the 30-minute mark.
Okay.
That does not mean anything.
Yeah, because I've got nothing but time.
Okay, good. Go ahead. Go ahead. Hit it.
What was I saying?
We were saying about the hub.
The hub, yes, because and the interesting thing is, it's not like, oh, I have this hub, so now I do know people who are famous now. I know people who are high rollers who are very successful.
Yeah.
It's not like, therefore, they're going to like go, come and be on my series. That's not how it works. But there is like just a fun camaraderie, and I do enjoy seeing people be successful.
Yeah.
And cheering for them, you know what I mean?
And people know that, and that's the reason why they want to include you, because you've been supportive
and I
of
have
them.
been included and stuff.
No,
Don't
I
get
know
me
you have.
wrong,
I know
but
you
it's
have.
like, but I don't expect that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's,
Well, if we expect anything in this business,
No.
we're stupid.
and a lot of people seem to, and it just boggles my mind that you could be like, having done this for 20 years and still be like,
Yeah.
I own this,
Yeah.
you know, because we're not. And when it's not fun, then it's time to do something else, right?
Amen, sister. Susie, I'm going to ask you some fast questions. Are you ready?
Okay.
Worst days in Hollywood.
Okay, there was a. Okay, I'll start with this one. Second time I was pregnant, all right, so I auditioned for a beer commercial. And the concept of this beer commercial is that, you know, the Corona commercials with the lounge chair?
Yes.
Okay. But they only show you it from behind.
Yeah.
Okay. These are the dummies who, you know, who drink Corona. Okay. These are the two fat slobs who drink Corona. Now, at the time I auditioned for this commercial, I am 5 months pregnant. When you're 5 months pregnant, you don't look pregnant necessarily, you just look fat.
Sure.
My body was just, you know, a round thing, but I wasn't popping out yet. So I go in, and the first thing they say to me is, the first audition, will you wear a bathing suit or a tank top and shorts? And I said, I will wear a tank top and shorts. Knowing full well that first of all, I don't do bathing suit stuff anyway.
I don't know.
But were I to wear one, it would be pregnant. I would look pregnant at that point.
Right.
So I said that. I go to the callback. On camera.
Do you remember the
in front of
casting
everyone.
director for this one?
I don't. I think it might have been at Danny Goldman's.
Okay, all right. Go
Is that
ahead.
going to be a problem with the banging?
It should go away pretty
Whatever.
quick. It
Show
is.
business.
Hey, this is portable, so
Yes, it's
yeah.
pretty cool. But anyway, so callback. Director, ad agency, whoever else is there, will you wear a bathing suit or a t-shirt and shorts? And I once again say, I know you'd love to see it, but I will wear a tank top and shorts. That's what I will wear. Okay?
Okay.
I book it. I get my phone call from wardrobe. What size bathing suit do you wear?
Oh boy.
And I'm like, once again, I will not. And now I'm hormonal. I am like, my body's a joke. I mean, I'm losing my mind. I get to the fitting after I told the wardrobe woman, no. Well, see, I thought I'm gonna show up and that's all they're gonna have for me. So I went to Nordstrom and I found a bathing suit that looked like a tank top and shorts. It was one piece. And I thought,
Smart.
I will wear this.
Yeah.
Okay?
I like it when we start doing their job as
But
well.
also, isn't the joke that I am the whitest person on earth, isn't that funny? In a tank top and shorts. I
Yeah.
think that's enough. And I'm definitely not going to look svelte and hot. So isn't that enough? Anyway, so I show up to the job and they've got a bunch of not only bathing suits, but like 1980s high cut bathing suits with like the plunge.
Yes.
And I'm like,
No.
no. And then I finally, because I was told, don't tell them you're pregnant. It's a beer commercial. I don't think the joke is that pregnant women sit on these things and drink Corona.
boy, okay.
I finally just said, I am pregnant and this is going to be a problem. And so I told the director and he goes, don't tell the client. They bring in-
Everybody's telling you not to say anything.
Yes.
Okay.
And so they bring in the client and he's like, to the director. The director comes up to me. Now he knows I'm pregnant. He goes, he wants to know if you'll wear a bikini. And I just looked at the guy. I was like, I don't think that would be good. It would detract too much from your product, right? And so I wore my bathing suit that looked like a tank top and shorts. And I was just humiliated. It was awful.
How do you look back upon that? Do you wish that you would have just gone with it more, or do you?
No, I'm glad I stood up for
Okay,
myself.
good.
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
I mean, I would not have done it, even if I wasn't pregnant.
Yeah.
Like if someone asked me to do that shit, that's what's so funny too. You know, I think I had to be in my late 40s, and my agent called me and said, he wouldn't submit me on this, but he had to ask. He said,
Yeah.
I want to submit you for Ray Donovan, but there's nudity. Is that, and he wanted to offer me that thing. I think he knew the answer would be no. And I said, I've got 2 sons. I can't do nudity. And then all I thought was, why wasn't someone asking me to do that 20 years ago?
Yeah. No, that's a good point.
Like, HBO screwed it up for everybody. Now everybody's naked.
Well,
It's
Susie, let me
nobody
ask you
wants to
this.
do that.
If you didn't have boys, would you have done it that day?
I couldn't say, but probably not. That audition, you mean?
Well, no. The actual
audition.
scene. No, the actual scene. Would you ever do
If
that?
I didn't have kids
Yeah.
at all?
Yeah.
Maybe, because I don't really care, but I have 2 sons.
No, I
and
get
thought,
it. I
I'm not
get it.
gonna
I'm
do
just
that to them.
curious. What?
And you know it wouldn't have been flattering. It was like for a
Well, I don't
character
even
who
think
gets
about it like
killed,
that.
and then she's like lying there naked.
Okay.
And it's gross.
Yeah.
And then, I'm just saying,
I get it.
for me to show that to my son.
Hang on, man. Those are. Okay,
know.
that's good. Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
I
yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
Okay. Best days in Hollywood.
Well, okay, here's a good one.
All right.
I had auditioned for The Office a couple times.
Okay.
And I didn't get it.
Allison Jones.
Alison Jones and Dorian Frankel.
That's right. Okay.
And I get a call. I'm like, my hair is dirty. I'm sitting at home, whatever. Hey, do you want to do The Office today?
Do you want to do The Office
Yeah.
today, or do you want to go audition?
No, can you be there at 1:30 to shoot The Office today?
And that's
because they'd already
because-
met me
okay.
and they knew my stuff.
Okay.
And so they had a part that came up last minute, and so it was so much fun because I went, yeah, sure, and I showed up. It's actually in the valley. You know, they have that. Have you ever been?
Yeah.
It's this little like cul-de-sac with a bunch of
Yeah.
whatever industrial area. And I show up and I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know who I'm playing or anything. And they said, you're playing Andy, who is played by Ed Helms.
Okay. Yeah.
He has to go to anger management, and you're his anger management counselor. So
Okay.
he comes up, and then I'm like, hey, excuse me. I just have one line. It's like, hey, you must be Andy. And so because I'm an improviser, I show up, and I go, hey, you must be Andy. He goes, hey, what's your name? And we just start improvising, and it was so much fun.
Awesome.
Yes, I did have to hold a cigarette, and I do not smoke.
But you know what's so cool about that is, I just love that you got a phone call out of the clear blue to be on a
Oh,
show
yeah.
now that's even bigger before it
yeah.
even came out. I mean, since the first time it came out, it's bigger now.
It is, and the thing is, like, it was a really fun scene. And at that time, though, Ed Helms was he just had become a regular. Because, he kind of came in as a
that's
guest
right,
star.
that's right.
He had just become a regular. And so they were going to shoot another scene. They actually booked me for the other scene. And then they canceled it because they cut the scene before they even shot it. But I think it's because when you do a show and you're not in a scene with one of the leads.
Yeah.
And even though that's an ensemble, he was a new person. Sometimes I'm like, this is going to get cut. And so they cut the scene, the second one.
But you were in the first one?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Susie, we're going to start winding down.
Okay.
So let me ask you a couple of serious questions.
Mm-hmm.
Howard Stern.
Love him.
You do love him.
I was listening today to the Holly Weird Squares on my way here.
I always think what day it is, because
so good.
I always think, okay, if it's Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, it's new. So, okay.
We
so,
have the app, right?
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know who doesn't have the app?
Who?
Our friend Scott Morgan.
He doesn't. Why? Everybody
weirdo.
has to have the app.
You have to have the app because I downloaded. So what I was listening kind of live, and then you download it. You could also forward over commercials.
Yeah,
Gotta get this app.
yeah.
And so I will download the rest of the show and then listen to it on my way home. And then Sternthology,
It's great.
and I love it.
I love that. For some reason, I just love that you're a big Howard Stern fan. What is a piece of advice that's carried you along the way in Hollywood?
Just keep going.
I say that so much.
Enjoy the
Just
journey.
keep moving. Just keep moving, no matter how hard it gets, no matter how dark it gets, no matter what. Just
Yes.
keep moving forward.
Because nobody subpoenaed us to show up to these auditions, okay?
Yeah.
It's a choice we make. And when you make that choice, you do it. And there's going to be good days and like marriage, too. We've both been married for a long time.
Yep.
And every day is not sunshine and rainbows, but overall it's pretty great.
Yeah, it's
and
awesome.
I love our, family and all that. Stick to it. Once again, if acting becomes a thing that is causing me so much angst and feeling crappy about myself, I could stop. There are so many things we could be doing and making more money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For sure.
Especially the past few years.
Yeah.
Because you don't make the money you used to make.
No.
Is
Is there anything I need to know about you with this career that we need to know before we shut it down?
I'm ready to now take over. in my category because I'm kind of almost there, age-wise, type-wise, you know what I'm saying? I was always told I will work more the older I get.
I was told the same thing.
And I do believe that. And so and with there's so much good stuff on TV now.
Yeah.
And you see roles that are like so great for adult, mature women that are not just like the old hag.
Right.
It's like real roles where you can do stuff. And even though my background is comedy, I found that the things I've done that are on more dramatic shows, like I did an episode of Weeds where I played a woman who was dying and getting high. I love stuff like that more. It's so much easier than comedy too.
Oh yeah.
Just be like a human.
Yes. Oh, Susie, yes, 100%. What actor taught you the most on your journey here?
Actor, like famous person, or
Yeah,
actor
just some actor, some actress who you worked with who taught you something along the way.
Well, I have to go back to for commercials, Alicia Brand.
Okay.
Because she educated me about the business.
She was a beautiful. I'm not saying she's beautiful now,
still hot,
but she is hot. But she was like a young. What did she do at the very beginning? It was like a model or something.
I don't think she did modeling. She's not super tall, but she did tons of commercials. She was the cute girl.
Yeah,
and it was like she did a Honda commercial. It was very cute, where she's like, "Oh, test drive," and she was giggling.
Yeah. Okay, but enough about her. This is about you. Even though I love her.
But she told me about the business.
Okay.
And she explained to me stuff about unions that I didn't know. Because when I first got to town, there was a strike, and I was like, "Awesome, we'll work." And she goes, "No," and she explained to me why unions are important, even though they're not perfect. You want to support this, and I was like, "Oh, okay, thank you."
Wait, what year did you come out here? Because I came out here in '87. There was a strike, or '88.
It was '88, I think, because I hadn't moved here yet, but I was still coming in and out.
That's when I was
groundlings.
doing it. That's when I got out here.
And I was like, okay, thank you for telling me that, And then I'd say my mentor was Cynthia Zagatti. She was at the Groundlings, famous, very well-known improv teacher. She passed away a few years ago, but she really, she was my champion at the Groundlings. And she, once in an improv class that she did outside of the Groundlings, and there were people were in the main company of the Groundlings. I was on the newer side, and then professional actors. And I was in a scene with two guys, and she said, "Susie," and I went, "What?" She could be harsh. She goes, "You have girl disease." And I was like, excuse me, I do not have girl disease. What is that?
Yeah, what is
How
that?
did I get it?
Yeah.
Because I have 4 brothers, and I feel that I'm pretty assertive. She says, "You think those two guys have anything better to say than you do?" She saw that I was holding back and letting the guys drive.
Oh, okay.
And I went, ooh, I don't have that.
Okay.
Whatever I have to say it's different than what they're going to say, but it's equally good. And that was something that...
I like that advice.
Yeah.
I like that advice a lot.
Don't have girl disease. Don't have it.
All right.
Girls are awesome.
Susie,
Yes?
you always stand out to me. I always like running into you.
I like running into you. We did the other day.
We did the other day. Susie,
Yes?
we're going to shut it down.
Okay.
Anything else before we do
I
it?
don't think so.
Susie, give me one last favor.
Wait, I want to look in the right place.
I think you want to look over. Not
I
that you
have
want
an
to look
iPhone.
anywhere, but I'd look over here.
Okay.
Susie,
Yes?
tell everybody bye out there.
Bye-bye. See ya.